Hi, Libra. Welcome to your reading. For those of you who are new to me, my name is Lunt. I'm an intuitive channel and medium. If you would like a personal recorded video, I'll put a link to that in the comments afterwards. If you would like a mediumship to speak to crossed over loved one, I'll put a link to book that in the comments as well. Without further ado, though, Libra, let's jump into your reading. Honestly, it's a big O. Slow down the pace at which you're escalating love and a relationship, as much as you need to like just slow down the pace, the intensity of it a bit. There's a little bit of like a need for more communication. So they're kind of like, you need to communicate more, slow down the pace of things, communicate more. But in terms of like your soul level lesson for the month, you got the 2 of water crossed by the 5 of fire. So it's kind of those moments, Libra, where it's like recognizing love for what it is. It's taking it off that pedestal. It's taking it off that love story versus life story. You know, the love story is that Romeo and Juliet, Tristan and Isolde. Well, even though those have those longing and that desire and that passion for this person that just completes you and you're with them, all of those end in tragedy. And if you want to Google a modern psychology word, you can Google limerence, and you'll see that like love stories are literally just a longing for something that you don't actually know. It's a made up fantasy relationship. So you're reconciling for recognizing love for what it is and what it's worth. So there is a part of you that's like feeling disappointment, but it's recognizing that just because you feel disappointment doesn't mean that that person's not the one. Because you do have the 2 of water here, which means there's mutual attraction and there's compatibility for it to be the 2 of water. And that means there is like a decent flow of energy exchange between the two of you. So it's a big O kind of you're reconciling what love actually is. It's not a love story, it's a life story. A life story is that person that you can integrate with on the day to day, the communication, the sharing the household chores, the if you want kids, and if you do, how do you want to raise them? It's the person that cares if you slept well or not. It's the person that you cuddle, that celebrates your birthday, that you celebrate holidays with. It's that person that gives you that daily reminder that you're loved and you're special. Don't make love mean anything more than that. And because what it does, Libra, is it puts pressure on the other person if you're like looking for this big, bad, bold, grand thing. It's if you're like, "Oh, well, if they really loved me, wouldn't they be thinking about me all the time? Wouldn't they wanna, like, put me a note in my lunchbox?" So you can literally be eating a lunch that they made for you or bought for you, and you'll be disappointed with, "Well, there's no secret note in here." So that's why it's a big month of you recognizing, like, love for what it is, and sometimes the other person can't focus on you for that sweet, extra, over the top stuff. Um yeah. So in terms of like your human level lesson, is that like this relationship is definitely still worth the effort. You got the 8 of earth. So it's recognizing when you're manifesting or setting a goal and there's something that you want, you think in the obtaining of it, there's a way you're gonna feel, there's something you're gonna be able to do or be when it comes in. And most of the time that's kind of made up in your head. So this is where you recognize that life is about always manifesting, always creating something new, always setting a new goal. And there was I forgot the name of the book, but it was like Olympian athletes even as they're training and going for it, they're feeling really good, they're really loving it, and that's how manifestations work. As you're getting there, you're like, oh my god, I'm getting there. It's close, and then when you get it, you enjoy it, and then there tends to be a drop off when it's something really big like a gold, an Olympic gold athlete, the job that you wanted. The drop off tends to be bigger but what that's what life is. Oh, I really want to go to like a lunch date. And then at some point you go, okay, well, I don't want to do my lunch dates. I need something else. So life is always about manifesting new. That disappointment is just part of the process of life, but that's the point of life to then create something new. It's a continual renewal of getting to know yourself and what your preference is for how you'd like to spend your time now. So this relationship is still worth the effort, even though you feel disappointment, because your disappointment isn't around them. Your disappointment is around the image of the relation of what relationships should like provide for you. In terms of your recent past, well, something worked out in your favor. You definitely are. mm, Speaking up for what you do want in a relationship, you are definitely going like, hold on, this is something that's actually really important to me. Is this something you could do? Like, yes or no. So, like, the guides want to encourage you, the spirit guides want to encourage you that, like, keep doing that, Libra, because that's worth it. Just don't carry it that they have to meet 100% of what you want in a relationship. They even have to meet 90%. Honestly, if you get between 70 to 85%, and plus you want those outside friends anyways, or those coworkers, because then you have cool stories to come back to your main partner with that help them feel connected to you in a way they couldn't if they're the ones that went to the park with you, you know? Like if you come back and go, "Oh my god, just running with my buddy so and so, and he actually said XYZ for your marketing problem." So those outside relationships matter. So it's keep defending for like the core, like the 80% of what you want in a relationship. Some of them just allow yourself to feel the disappointment and go, okay, I guess this other 20%, I'll have to go get another tennis friend in a different, I'll just have to go get a tennis friend. Wifey doesn't want to play that. In terms of right now in the moment, okay, there's not conflict or strife between the two of you, but in terms of right now in the moment, it looks like the other person, because of your little bit of push, your little bit of the pressure I told you about, in terms of if they really liked me, wouldn't they be thinking about me all the time? Wouldn't they want to be surprising me with things? And like the little bit of a, no, this is important to me. They're definitely trying, they took a, not a step back in the relationship or the desire or the commitment or like the desire to see it go somewhere, but they took a step back to try to view it objectively. Like, okay, I know my feelings are in on this. I know I'm invested in this emotionally, but hold on, like, is he a good partner? And if this is what he's like the whole time, do I still want him? And so you can kind of feel that. But that's why communication is key here, guys. Guys, I've seen so many relationships end, and I even had a personal example. I made a gentleman lunch and then there was like I made him a big lunch too. Like there were 3 side dishes, salmon, like I made it really good. We hung out for like 2.5 hours. It was his week off. And then at the very end though, I was like, "Oh my God, we should have planned this more. If we planned this, you could have brought something over and you could have stayed here while I was working." And then he went like, "Oh, well, there's a book right there." I was like, "Oh, this could happen. He could entertain himself." But then like I went into fear of, "Oh my god, I've never done my YouTube lives with another person in the room." And actually the last time I did it 5 years ago, it didn't end up too well. The other person started talking loudly even though I told them I was making a video. So I closed off and clamped up a little bit. That had nothing to do with him. It had everything to do with the past experience I had. And he definitely interpreted it as a sign of like I didn't like him, I didn't want him. And then there was just a little miscommunication. So the communication piece here for you would be like, "Hey, I don't get it. Like you offered me staying here. I'm saying there's a book right here. What's going on with you? Why are you closing off a little bit?" Right? Because then I would have been like, "Oh, actually, I'm just really nervous making my YouTube videos in front of someone else. Last time I did it, like someone else talked loudly and said cuss words in the background." He could have been, "No, I understand it's important. I'll be really quiet." And I'd have been like, "Oh, okay, good." Right? Or you could have flipped the responsibility on me. I could have been like, "Wait, wait, wait. Why are you feeling like I just made you a great lunch? Why are you're pulling back a little bit? What's going on for you?" He's like, "Well, you invited me to stay here and now you're like, it's obvious you don't want it." "Oh, no, no, that's just because I'm nervous about doing YouTube videos in front of someone." Like that's the kind of communication. Just because you can pick up someone is closing off or like having a bad feeling, it doesn't mean it's personal about you. It's can you approach it from take nothing personal and be curious. Be like, "Hey, what's going on for you? Because you just invited me and now you're closing off. So if you don't like me, like I'll just tell me and I'm happy to move on. But is there something going on for you?" Like that's the kind of communication you need. Like, "Hey, I noticed you changed when this happened. Like, fill me in. What's going on for you?" Um, so going into the near future, you're gonna just need to like be aware that that's kind of what relationships are. They're like a continual conversation maintenance of like emotions. That's what they are, guys. And of course, hugs and cuddles and celebration. Um, Especially in the earlier stages of a relationship when you're like setting up the foundation and setting up the trust and the security that you guys can both rely on each other. And thanks for the thumbs up, whoever gave it a thumbs up. Okay, in terms of your personal power, we got the 5 of Earth here right now. So that tends to be the card of like a little bit of worry about money. But for you, it's more of a don't get caught up in your fears around thinking like worst case scenario. And it's those guys, it's literally what happened between me and this guy. We both started pulling back and going, wait, wait, why are they pulling back? And then it just ended up imploding on itself. So instead of thinking like, well, hold on, they used to like text me good morning every morning and now they're not. Instead of taking that personal thing in worst case scenario and like, well, I'm gonna pull back if they're not all in. It's like, hey, what like, oh, I really look forward to your good morning text. What happened? Why don't you send them anymore? And they might be, "Oh, I just realized I was the one always texting you first every morning. I kind of wanted to see if you would text to me." And then, of course, you could bicker and fight about that, or you could say, "Oh, are you just wanting some reassurance that I like you?" "Well, yeah." "Oh, well, I do. Is there something I could do that would make you feel loved?" Like, relationships kind of do take that communication until you like really get to know a person, and then like when you know, like, oh, they really feel loved when I send them a good morning text. Now you know to send that every day. But you're not going to know that unless you're willing to like have that conversation. Oh, thanks for the second thumbs up. I love it. Two people viewing live, two thumbs up. That makes my day. um, yeah, so it's really recognizing a lot of that communication because there's so many people who are just so afraid of looking stupid that they pull back and the relationship implodes. Okay, in terms of outside influences, um, well, what I can tell you is outside influences, it looks like whoever it is you're dealing with, Libra, they're a tiny bit distracted by something else going on in their life, which okay, I could see why you might be thinking what's going on with them. Why did they pull back a little bit? But guys, like that's life. Sometimes they have only you to focus on. And that's when you're in like the honeymoon phase, the love and dove phase, right? But sometimes they get a big work project. Sometimes if they were at home and if the baby puked on them. So if they forget to text you, I love you, it's like, well, they were just cleaning baby puke off them? So that's why you want to approach things with like a curiosity, like, babe, I miss our text. Honey, I know it's just our kid's sick right now. And I'm like having to clear the congestion out of their nose and they were puking on me. And it just felt so unattractive. Now what you would have treated as a separating moment can now be a bonding moment. So even though they're a little distracted, like, hey, what's up? I kind of noticed you haven't been spending as much time with me or focused on me as much. And I love your love. Like, oh, I know I'm just like working on this project. And then you'll be able to listen to their project. You'll feel connected to them. And maybe you'll find a new way to help them with their project, and then you have a new way to connect with them. Like relationships are going to be about that continual conversation, that continual communication, that continual what's the new way to connect with them? What's the new thing in their life? Right? Because you don't want like a little love puppy, a little love slave who's just like, oh my God, you're amazing, put you on a pedestal. Right? Because we want a life story, not a love story. Okay, in terms of your hopes or fears for this month, well, it's interesting. It's both. It's the page of fire. So it's your hope is to be in a relationship where the passion and the excitement stays alive. And your fear is you don't want to miss a sign that they're not into it anymore. And then you continue giving to the relationship when they're not into it anymore. So it's you're really gonna have to just like balance it. Let me get an advice card for that one. Well, what's your advice spirit on that one? Oh, your advice is king of water. You just got to be loving. It's literally don't take anything personal. If you want a passionate relationship, you might have to be the one that steps up and leads it. You might have to be the one who does a little bit more of that communication. I told you, like, hey, hold on. Like, I made you a lunch to show you how much I liked you. And it looks like you're taking a sign that I'm not liking you. Right? It's you choose to be loving. You choose to always remain curious. You choose to assume until they say like, I don't like you anymore or I'm breaking up. Assume they like you. Assume they want the connection, and then like king of water, the king, be the one to lead the relationship. Be the one to lead the conversation. So like it's kind of almost Libra, like you're setting the tone for this relationship. That's what I'm going to title this reading. You're setting the tone, and you're either going to be the one with the good communication about it or not. Because guys, I'm an earth sign. I'm not a water sign. Relationships are a business. It's a business of the other person's emotional and mental well-being. To a certain extent, physical well being, but it's a business of what are your emotions? What are your emotional needs? What are your mental needs? How can I best help you meet them? Whether you can meet them directly or whether you can encourage them to like, well, okay, well, I'm going to stay tuned to see how you solve this. Or it could be like, well, hey, what if I have a buddy who might be able to help you with that? Like, that's the point. Like, a relationship is the front row ticket to that person's life. Do you want to see where they're going to be 60, 70, 80, 90? It's the front row ticket to that person's life. And it's the person who gets the first opportunity to have a positive impact on that person's life. And feel free to say hello, guys. And if you want a little read, oh, never mind, I'll stay focused. Okay, so in terms of the outcome, you got the Knight of Earth. So Knight of Earth definitely means like still go, still take charge, still go for it. But it's a slow down in terms of the pace of your expectations of the relationship. Because guys, A lot of times people have this, but if they really loved me, wouldn't they just know? If they really loved me, wouldn't it be this red carpet experience? Like, I'm sorry to be this blunt, but that is what I'm known for. My spirit guides come in and they drop mic drop moments on you and like, nope, you're going down the wrong path. Here's what you need to do instead. It's not what you think you need, it's what you actually need. Okay. So, whew, lost my train of thought there. What a beautiful mic drop moment. Losing my train of thought. Okay, so we had the Knight of Earth. Oh, it slowed down your expectations of the love. If you were in that spot, you're like, but if they really love me, wouldn't they just know? If they really loved me, wouldn't we just have this compatibility? That's a very childlike view of a relationship. Because think about it, when you're a young kid, what do parents look at you and go, oh, honey, here's what you need. Oh, honey, I see what you need. Honey, you actually need a nap. Are you gonna, yeah? So you got to mature up and be an adult a bit and recognize that relationships are built, that they're, if someone upset you, it's a, hey, I really loved going out to dinner. Thank you so much for taking me out. I'm so curious though, what made you pick that restaurant? Oh, well, it was, it had the best Yelp reviews and I wanted to take you somewhere really nice. Like, oh, that's so sweet of you. That thank you. Give him a kiss, give him a hug, right? And then go like, can I just share though that I'm actually really allergic to fish? And he took me to a fish restaurant. Like, no, I loved going out, babe, but like, could we maybe just go to a non-fish restaurant next time? See, that's a connecting bonding thing. If you just go, why would you take me to a fish restaurant if you're thinking if they really loved me, wouldn't they know? Or if they really loved me, wouldn't they just have been guided? No, no, relationships are built. And then I know that some of you will think that takes the magic away. Again, that's a child parent relationship, not an adult adult relationship. Um, It's when you say like, "Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you." Like, "But by the way, I'm allergic to fish. Could we go to like an Italian restaurant next time or a chicken restaurant next time?" Then they know that about you. Then they get to suggest that for the next time. Now your relationship is built. It takes years to get to know someone and their preferences, and you guys are always evolving. So Libra, you're setting the pace for this relationship. Slow down in terms of your expectations and be willing to have communication so that you guys just keep that honeymoon phase going as long as you can. Much love. Good luck. If you want a reading, a recorded video, or live call, the links for that will be in the comments.